Hungary has officially launched a nationwide petition vigorously opposing the European Union's continued military and financial support for Ukraine. Prime Minister Viktor Orban, a vocal critic of the EU's current foreign policy direction, characterized Brussels' war plans as inherently dangerous. He publicly vowed to protect Hungary from being drawn into what he described as a direct conflict with Russia, emphasizing a stance of neutrality and national interest. The petition drive is designed to reach every city and village across Hungary, aiming for broad public engagement and support. Prime Minister Orban himself was the first prominent figure to sign the petition, setting an example for citizens to follow and signaling the government's strong commitment to this initiative. His campaign reflects Hungary's consistent divergence from the mainstream EU consensus on the Ukraine conflict and its broader relationship with Russia. Moldovan President Maia Sandu has issued a grave warning, stating that Russia is actively engaged in a hybrid attack against the country, with the ultimate objective of leveraging Moldova in its ongoing war against Ukraine. Speaking at the 35th anniversary event of the Venice Commission, Sandu highlighted what she described as systematic interference in Moldova's electoral process. This alleged interference includes the manipulation of ballot boxes, the deliberate creation of new political parties designed to destabilize the political landscape, and the clandestine funding of protests. She further noted that these subversive activities are being carried out using advanced technology and cryptocurrencies to obscure their origins and facilitate illicit financial flows. While Sandu acknowledged that Moldovan citizens and institutions have successfully defended democratic principles thus far, she stressed that this victory is merely temporary. She urged for sustained vigilance, enhanced national resilience, and accelerate European integration as critical measures to counter Russia's persistent efforts to destabilize Moldova through new and evolving methods. In response, the Kremlin has issued its own stern warning to Moldova's pro-EU government, cautioning that the country risks repeating Ukraine's tumultuous fate. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov stated that Moldovan leaders are making a great mistake by pursuing policies that actively antagonize Russia. He criticized the Moldovan government for what he termed clinging to power while simultaneously maintaining an unfriendly stance toward Moscow. This warning comes after Moldova officially adopted a new national security strategy that explicitly names Russia as the primary threat to its sovereignty and stability, a strategic shift that followed the significant escalations of the conflict in Ukraine. Moscow has consistently denied any involvement in Moldova's internal affair, maintaining that the war in Ukraine was provoked solely by the West. China has reaffirmed its commitment to developing the traditional China-DPRK friendship and strengthening strategic cooperation in both international and regional affairs. This statement was conveyed by Chinese Premier Li Qiang in a message to North Korea, as reported by the state media outlet KCNA on October 10, 2025. Li's statement notably coincided with a high-profile visit by Dmitry Medvedev, who served as the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, to North Korea. This simultaneous diplomatic activity signaled a clear pattern of coordination and alignment among Moscow, Pyongyang, and Beijing on various regional and global issues. According to KCNA, North Korea responded positively to China's overtures, praising Beijing's steadfast support and pledging to work closely with China to further enhance global stability and foster Asian security cooperation. This announcement comes just days after the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties between China and North Korea, a significant milestone that both sides utilized to highlight their enduring bilateral loyalty and strategic partnership. Representative Haley Stevens has issued a sharp critique of President Trump's tariff-driven economic strategy, highlighting its perceived negative impact on the U.S. economy and American consumers, as price for various goods surged following an unprecedented 55 tariff announcement within a mere 100 days of the new administration. Stevens unveiled her Unearth America's Future Act. This legislative initiative is specifically designed to rebuild U.S. critical mineral capacity, aiming to reduce the nation's dependence on foreign sources, particularly China. She warned of substantial adverse effects including potential Medicaid losses for 700,000 residents in Michigan and pending federal layoff across various sectors, and what she unequivocally labeled a chaos agenda. Stevens argued that this agenda threatened jobs, undermined healthcare access, and jeopardized industrial stability nationwide. China has, in turn, criticized the United States for applying double standards following former President Trump's announcement of an additional 100% tariff on Chinese goods. Chinese officials stated emphatically that they are not afraid of such measure and issued warning of potential economic retaliation as trade tensions continue to escalate between the two global powers. U.S. stock markets experienced a significant plunge on October 10, 2025, after President Trump announced a sweeping new round of tariffs, specifically an additional 100% duty on all Chinese goods, alongside new export control on critical software, slated to take effect on November 1st. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped by 878 points. The Nasdaq Composite fell by 3.56%, and the S&P 500 slid by 2.71%, collectively wiping out more than $1.5 trillion in market value. Trump publicly stated that this aggressive move was a direct response to China's extraordinarily aggressive new export controls on rare earth mineral and critical manufacturing component, which he argued threatened global supply chains. The president accused Beijing of attempting to hold the world captive, emphasized the necessity of defending U.S. national interests, and warned that this unprecedented trade escalations could deepen further if China does not reverse its course. Trump also left open the possibility of canceling a planned meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, describing the situation as shocking and not of his choosing. China has refused to back down in the face of President Trump's threats of 100% tariff, particularly concerning rare earth export, which are vital for numerous technology, defense, and consumer goods industries. President Xi Jinping's government has signaled that Beijing is fully prepared to defend its global economic position, indicating its willingness to leverage its control over rare earth resource to counter U.S. pressure. Analysts warn that this escalating standoff could severely disrupt global supply chains and further intensify already strained trade relations. Despite these escalating tensions, U.S. President Donald Trump later struck a markedly softer tone regarding China, referring to President Xi as highly respected and insisting that the U.S. aims to help, not harm, China. Trump reassured the global community by stating, "Don't worry about China, it will all be fine." The sudden shift in tone came just days after Trump has publicly accused China of hostile actions and warned that Beijing was attempting to hold the world captive, while also hinting at a massive increase in tariff on Chinese imports. China's Commerce Ministry responded to Trump's threat of a 100% tariff hike by urging the U.S. to rectify its wrong practices and engage in consultations based on equality. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance defended Trump's tariff threats, characterizing China's control of critical supplies as the definition of a national emergency. Vance asserted that the president's approach is fundamentally aimed at making the U.S. more self-sufficient, while simultaneously leaving room for compromise if China demonstrates a willingness to negotiate constructively. The U.S.-China trade war has effectively reignited after President Donald Trump threatened a sweeping 100% tariff on all Chinese import. This threat was issued in direct response to Beijing's new restrictions on rare earth export. China's Commerce Ministry warned that it would take resolute measure, accusing Washington of undermining bilateral dialogues and harming global markets. Trump described China's export control as a hostile move, further posting that additional actions were under review. This renewed escalation cast significant doubt on a previously planned meeting between Trump and Xi, especially as the current tariff truce is set to expire in November. Following Donald Trump's threat of massive 100% tariff on Chinese goods, Beijing has issued a strong counter-response, stating that while it does not desire a trade war, it is fully prepared to engage in one. From rare earth export to U.S. imports, both nations are now facing the prospect of another significant economic showdown. If you have made it this far, congratulations. You have unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question. With Hungary openly opposing EU support for Ukraine, China and North Korea strengthening their alliance, and the US-China trade war escalating with 100% tariff, the race to be the #1 economic competitor and the strongest army in the world by bringing other competitors down by any means. If this continues, Are we heading toward a nuclear war? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below, like the video, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.